during my teenage years when I was the most confused or the most lost, my encounter with Jesus and his church reset the direction for my life. It wouldn't be exaggerating to say that August of 1997 was probably one of the most important months of my life. Well, it was the end of my last summer living at home, and the month I had my first car accident. The most important thing that happened to me that month is that I was given my first youth ministry job. Now, I explained in another one of these videos that in many ways, being a youth minister feels like being a beggar who shows other beggars where to find bread. It simply comes down to the fact that during my teenage years, when I was the most confused or the most lost, my encounter with Jesus and his church reset the direction for my life. What I learned about God, what I learned about the church, and what I learned about my faith made all the difference for me. And this is why my whole adult life has been spent trying to offer the same opportunities to other young people. With that in mind, I want to remind you or tell you for the first time about the 3 key lessons that I learned 30 years ago, lessons that are the reason why I do what I do. First of all, God is love. Now, on Christmas Day in 2005, Pope Benedict XVI issued a letter to the church entitled Deus Caritas Est, which means God is love. The opening sentences of this letter are important for all of us to hear and to think about. The Pope wrote, God is love, and he who abides in love abides in God, and God abides in him. 1 John 4:16. These words from the first letter of John express with remarkable clarity the heart of the Christian faith. In the same verse, St. John offers a kind of summary of the Christian life. We have come to know and to believe in the love God has for us. Now, the late Pope isn't just talking about love as a feeling or a sentimentality here. God isn't just loving. God is love. This is clearly shown in the fact that Jesus' death on the cross is the primary sign of our faith. And our knowledge, our belief, our understanding of that love is the summary of the whole Christian life. God has loved us, and so our whole lives are a response to that love. Second lesson, every life, including yours, is a gift. Now, some of you are familiar with Dr. Seuss's story or the movie Horton Hears a Who, where Horton the elephant risks his life because he heard a voice talk to him from a tiny speck. And he explains the reason why he's doing this is because he believes a person is a person no matter how small. Jesus says in Luke chapter 12, verse 7, that God knows the number of hairs on our heads. Now, apparently the average person has between 90,000 and 150,000 hair on their head, and we lose 50 to 100 of these a day. And what Jesus is saying is that God knows the exact number of not only your hair and my hair, but for all 8.2 billion people on the planet today. And what he wants us to know is that even the smallest details of our life, the good, the bad, and the hard, all of it matters to him because you matter to him. Jesus sees your life as one that matters, that is a gift. And finally, you have a place in God's church. I am so grateful that Jesus didn't just do what he did or say what he said, leaving us to try and figure out what to do next. Jesus left us a church, a community of followers whose job it is to bring us to him, to guard and to pass on his teachings, and to help us all eventually to get to heaven. And I want to make this exceptionally clear. You have a place in this church, even if you've messed up or even if you feel like you don't measure up to the church's standards. In an interview a few months after he was elected head of the church, Pope Francis said, I see the church as a field hospital after battle. It is useless to ask a seriously injured person if he has high cholesterol and about the level of his blood sugars. You have to heal his wounds. Then we can talk about everything else. Heal the wounds. Heal the wounds, and you have to start from the ground up. Put a different way, God in the church loves you as you are. If you're hurting, God loves you. God meets you there. But if you're doing stuff that you're not supposed to be doing or that isn't good for you, God and the church love you too much to leave you there. She'll call you to a higher standard. Now, these three lessons, that God is love, that every life, including yours, is a gift, and that you have a place in the church, are the three key lessons that every Catholic Christian needs to understand. And I'll tell you right now that a big part of what I'll be doing this year during my visits, during our retreats, will be trying to bring these realities to life for you. These three things have helped define and direct my path for nearly 30 years. And I pray that they can do the same for yours.